Hey there team, Rob here from the Better SMB. Now this episode is out a little bit later than planned. That's my fault. I'll take that responsibility. But in a way, it is perfect with what the Better SMB team are launching right now. Go online, it's pretty exciting with our Perform IQ tool. Anyway, don't panic, keep listening through this episode for a few nuggets that will help your business perform better. And talking about help, a big thank you to the Setseed team who are powering our online vision. Setseed are your all-in-one online platform developers. So good that New Zealand Lean Academy, that's my business, are using them to put together an amazing customer experience platform. We are putting together a learning management system, website, database, newsletter, CRM, all in one place. It has been an amazing journey with the Setseed team. Anyway, go to setseed.com for more information and hook up with them. They are an amazing group of guys. Anyway, final help request. Please like, share, do all the things you need to do to help us grow at the Better SMB so we can bring more guests, episodes to help New Zealand SMBs become an amazing place to do business. Anyway, that's enough for me. On with the podcast.
Welcome back to the Better SMB, where we're on a mission to lift New Zealand's productivity by helping small and medium business leaders take practical steps to improve their business performance, starting today. I'm David Alterner.
And I'm Rob Bull.
We've created this platform to spark a movement. Our BHAG is to get 100,000 businesses, that includes 15,000 manufacturers, on a journey of continuous improvement. Through the podcast, our monthly column, The Last Word, a New Zealand manufacturer, and our growing community, we're building a trusted voice for SMB leaders, offering the inspiration, insight, and implementation support they need to build high-performing, future-ready businesses. Well, Rob, here we are, 2026. And we're kicking things off. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, David. It seems absolutely ages since we've been doing this podcast in the summer break. I've almost forgotten how to get organised for the podcast.
Oh, tell you, me too. It's been a short and intense break. I'm not sure if you can rest and recuperate intensely, but I feel like I've done that because it did feel like a very short holiday, and we're now back at it. We're kicking things off today with a bit of a planning session, and we want to give our listeners out there a bit of a look under the hood on what we've learned from the last year, what we've learned this year, having done an in-person recording session already before doing this, and what we're building towards, and some of the things that we'd like you to help us shape the conversations that are coming in 2026. So I guess, Rob, if we look back, what are some of the highlights for you from the last 12 months of doing this?
Probably the obvious one, really, is that we're still doing this. 31 episodes are out in the wild. We go on the Spotify reports and all of that kind of stuff and actually see that people give a damn. So that would be my top highlight, to be absolutely fair, in going out and talking to people, whether it's work related and that, and going, oh yeah, I've got to do a podcast, and they turn and go, you do a podcast? Send me the link. Those are the highlights kind of from a big picture point of view. The other highlights are, it's like your favourite children. You don't want to name them all, and you can't name the one favourite child, but really what surprised me is the caliber of people that we've had on, and the willingness. People have absolutely been an open book to share some of the ideas to help out our listeners and small businesses out in the wild. So I'm not going to name episodes just yet. That might be later on. I think, yeah, blown away by the willingness of people to come on and have a chat, and just the caliber out there of people willing to help. It's been pretty cool. What about you?
It's fun, right? The thing that surprised me is connecting with people, and they're like, I've listened to this episode or that episode, and I really like this, or what do you think about that? Could you run a session on investment into businesses, or just some of the different suggestions that are coming out of the woodwork? The other funny thing is when I'm talking to people, and my accountant, interestingly enough, I was talking to her about the podcast, and she was like, oh, send me the link. So over the last week or so, I sent her the link, and actually they're doing a little bit of marketing out to their customer base for us to promote what we're doing, because she had a listen, really liked it. One of my wife's friends, we caught up with them, and she was like, oh, you've got a podcast. Started listening to it. My wife just went and caught up with her friends without me. Topic of conversation was our podcast.
Oh, didn't they have better things to talk about? Surely not.
Isn't that terrible? Like, it's that bad. They've got to talk about this.
Wow. Right. The other thing too that I remember you talking about with a local law firm, that one of the directors has made one particular episode mandatory to listen to for his whole senior exec team.
Oh, no, that wasn't a law. Was it a law firm? I know that the local law firm, one of their partners, is a listener and a fan. No, it was actually a local marketing company has made the episode that we did with Dave Bunting compulsory listening for his team, which is just fantastic.
Must admit, it is the episode that does come up most often, and that doesn't surprise us. It's the most listened to by far, and it's the one I send links to all the time about how just to engage and get that sort of operational excellence mindset into businesses. So it's definitely a good cherry on the cake, that episode. Quite a surprising one, because before that episode you didn't even know who Dave Bunting was.
Wow. That's it, and I'm a little bit of a fan. But we also got into the beehive, and we had a minister on.
Surprises, this is what you can do by just turning up and just approaching people and going, here's our card, we're doing a podcast, and we'd love to have a government minister have a chat. And I really didn't think it would get replied. So once I got an email from his media team, Chris Pink was great.
Oh, wasn't he? Although I think that was the episode I probably had to do a significant amount of prep, and maybe a bit of it's, just in the back of the head going, don't stuff it up.
No, it was good. It was good to get that under our belt, because one of our goals, and this is jumping a little bit ahead, so we'll jump around reflection and looking at 2026. And this is where some of the listeners could really help out. But one of our goals is to get all the political parties on the podcast at some point of time, because it is election year. We really want to show and expose all the ideas that are coming out of all the different corners of the beehive, and how it will support the SME, SMB sector after the election. So it's going to be quite pivotal. So out there, listeners, if you know and got some contacts with some of the major parties and know who is leading the different sectors, and particularly the SMB sector, would love to get in contact with them.
And just a bit of a shout out for our column in New Zealand Manufacturer, The Last Word. By the time this goes to air, our article, Election Year Excuses, Why Manufacturers Can't Afford Them, will have gone live. So you may want to check that out as well. And ultimately, the theme of it is, don't wait for the government to come and solve your problems, because, spoiler alert, they're not coming. So while it is election year and we want to get into talking to all of the different political parties, McGillicuddy Serious Party, maybe that's still out there even, the fact is, you have more impact on your business than what happens in Wellington. So don't sit around and wait to see about tax breaks or whatever. Actually get in, do the planning work, and start executing, and what happens will happen.
And it was actually really good reflection, because I clean off my notes, didn't put it down, but doing the monthly article for New Zealand Manufacturing Magazine. And that was on the back of just starting this little podcast in the corner, side hustle, and it is slowly growing. So, I think reflection in 2025, certainly, it's going well. We've gone up. We continue to grow with our followers. You showed me the stats before, so 3 times as many from June to now, which is great. And looking at our reference Dave Bunting as our most listened episode, but one of the OG episodes is still running hard, the productivity report. So when we poked the bear and called them absolute garbage, people are still listening to that one. So that's coming in second. Working at Human Speed with Rachel King. I mean, that was one of those guests that I think you organised. You knew Rachel from different avenues, so I never come across her work, but just blew my mind just how approachable and how easy she made the topics for listeners to follow, integrate, and just to make sense. And rounding off our top 4, our episode Work on It, Not in It, the growth playbook. So that's coming in 4. So quite a very varied amount of episodes of just us talking versus a couple of our guests coming up on the top of the list. So it's been a really interesting year.
And the Work on It, Not in It, of course, that's a book review of the E-Myth. And the E-Myth, I don't know, when was that released? Pre-dinosaurs or something, wasn't it? I mean, it's still highly relevant. And
it is still high, and I still always would not go past a week without referencing the E-Myth, and I really enjoyed going through that book and just refreshing it with the episode. But yeah, I think probably 1970s, if not 80s. So yeah, 40, 50 years old. Go figure. And it's still relevant. That's what we talk about, the productivity issue around New Zealand, or the performance issue as we're probably now reframing it. It has been going on for a similar length of time. So the message has been the same. We just need to use that information and apply it. And that's what we're trying to do at the Better SMB. Probably a good segue to the BHAG.
Absolutely. But I want to touch on something else before we get there. Because we've got a sponsor.
Oh, gee. Sorry, Chris. Yes, we do. I need to... Pity we don't put these out on YouTube or anything like that. Otherwise, we could start wearing Setseed t-shirts. Or at least caps, because we're always wearing caps. Yeah, Chris from Setseed. That's starting up something. You can probably talk about this a little bit more than me, but it's starting up a really neat little project for the Better SMB.
Well, it is. It is. And that kind of lends itself to our BHAG, right? Where ultimately we're wanting to get 100,000 businesses on a journey where we're working to lift business performance. And if we can do it at that sort of scale, 100,000 businesses lifting their performance, then we can actually impact national productivity positively, ideally, right? Now, 100,000, I plucked that number out of thin air around about this time last year, and I picked it because it was a meaningful number that equated to not quite 2/3 of the number of businesses that employ everyone in New Zealand. So while there's 500,000 businesses in New Zealand, 400-something thousand of them, people's property investment company, they don't employ anyone, the corporate trustee, all these kinds of things, right? So that's what those businesses are. But when we think about lifting the performance of businesses, we want to lift the salaries and wages of the people who work in those businesses. That's where around about 165,000 businesses employ everyone. So our mission is to get 100,000 of those businesses on a high performance journey and lifting their performance, because if we can do that, we will absolutely impact national productivity.
Yep. So a big thanks to Chris and the team at Setseed. They've been pretty awesome at turning around some projects in behind, and hopefully by March, April, we'll have all of that out there a little bit more publicly, and we can talk about it a little bit more specifically about how we are going to do it. But it is pretty exciting. I mean, I was blown away with Chris and Setseed. So the New Zealand Lean Academy have now got a project going with them. So that is how it's influencing. And the stuff that they're planning to do for us, it's pretty awesome.
Well, we want to see some big ripple effects out there, right? I mean, I guess if we touch on it a little bit here at the Better SMB, we're working to pull together a community. Inside that community, there's going to be some diagnostics. There's going to be a whole bunch of different assets that you'll get access to that we don't provide access to through the podcast and so forth. So it's going to become a bit of a go-to for businesses to come to, run through some diagnostic things, which we'll share some more information about later on, and then come up with a roadmap on how you can actually start your own high performance journey. Now, this is probably a really good segue into the other thing that happened this year. We didn't just get a sponsor, we got to sponsor an award at the Northwest Country Business Awards up in Kumeu area, which again kind of blows my mind.
I'm just giggling in the background, Dave, because spot the non-Westie when you go Helensville, Kumeu area. It's actually about 40 k's difference. It was a lovely spot in the corner of Riverhead. So, but yeah, the Northwest Country Business Association, it was pretty cool because I was able to get back to my home turf out there and bump into some old people I haven't seen for about 20 or 30 years. So we came across a couple of pretty cool companies via the category that we were sponsoring, which was business excellence. So we're really just putting our money where our mouth is and really supporting the growth. So we took, 5 or 6 companies through that process?
It was 8.
8 companies. And the winning company, Drain Ninjas, hopefully I'll mention them because we are in email conversation to try and get them onto the podcast to, one, listen about their journey, but also their experience through that process as well. So that's a work in progress. Hopefully soon, in the next 3 or 4 weeks, we will catch up with them and have a yarn about their journey through business excellence.
The other piece that we also have is we've got our third person who's joining the Better SMB as a shareholder in our business, and that's Danielle Hancock. And the interesting thing there is Danielle is actually the manager for the Northwest Country Business Association, loved the work we've been doing, wanted to bring it to her members, but then also has doubled down and said that she wants to be a part of what we're building. And she's has come on board as our general manager. And I don't envy her because her job is to try and control and manage us.
I am already a thorn in her side with trying to coordinate and organise me because I am, That aside, 12 months ago, if you said, we would be a registered business and we have a vision around how we could roll some of our crazy ideas out into not just, the Hamilton, the Waikato, Tauranga area, but we're influencing parts of Auckland. We're in conversation with Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce and really getting influenced with their 35 by 35 challenge out there. So lifting performance or productivity by 35% or GDP by 35% by the year 2035. So we're trying to bring all of these in rather than competing conversations and all of that, bringing it all together so that there is just one big focus nationally. And as we said earlier, it's not coming out of the beehive. So hopefully it means it will make a difference.
What did Ronald Reagan say? The scariest words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
That's some of our goals, and a few little BHAGs around there is really pushing and encouraging businesses to get better and to lift up that performance. But as a podcast, so we've talked about getting the category award winner on our from the Northwest Country Business Association on our podcast. That's cool. But we also have in the pipeline, we've got one of the best business coaches I've ever come across, John Hutchinson. I'm going to share his name because he's definitely going to come on. Again, we're just trying to work around each other's schedules. We are talking to a nationally recognised business journalist, and he's looking at what we're doing and really interested. And so just even wrapping and crossing the conversations that are happening in mainstream media versus what we're doing in the corner here with the Better SMB. And the other future one is, as I've already said, trying to get those political parties. So we'll probably get Pinky again, hopefully. So if you're listening, Chris Pink, we're coming to get you. You will be emailed, but also can you share it around your colleagues across the hallway as well? Because we do want to get a really robust picture about what's happening in the SMB sector in New Zealand from the political sense.
One of the things I've picked up on this year and started talking to people about is also this idea of why New Zealanders appear to suck at building businesses that are assets. So I came across this number, 50,000 businesses, give or take, might be 40,000, 30,000, 60,000, depending on the year. A lot of businesses close their doors every year. They don't close their doors because they're bankrupt. That's about 1,000 businesses. They don't close their doors because they've sold. That's around about another 1,000 or 2,000 businesses a year. Most businesses in New Zealand shut down because the person who's running it wants to retire. So one of the things I want to do is I want to start telling the story of business owners that are smashing it or have smashed it. And one of the guys that we've got in the pipeline is one of John Hutchinson's mates, or clients actually, who had a go at selling his business, then waited 4 years, took some advice from John, implemented it, and ended up making multiples more as a result of getting that advice, right? So just showing the value of having good advice on your journey. The other one, you may or may not know this, but the Drain Ninjas team is actually a transitioning company from the father who founded it.
Yep.
Now moving to the daughter who's going to pick it up and run it with her husband, which again is a really, really cool news story, and we don't tell enough of this. So I'm really looking forward to being able to have stories like that on as well. The recording sessions we've got are probably going to be absolutely tapped out, I think, for the first half of this year.
I was writing out a spreadsheet with all the dates, and if we're recording every fortnight, we're solid until June. And that doesn't include a couple of people who reached out on LinkedIn that, if you are listening to this, apologies, I have yet to get back. But yeah, there are other people who are quite keen to be on and just to share their stories as well. So definitely building that momentum. As we said, 31 episodes by the end of the year, 50-ish, I think is a realistic target.
60.
60, round it out. Okay.
We've got.
Who needs to sleep?
Yeah, totally. I mean, last year in 2024, we got to, I think it was 10 episodes. Last year we put out 20. And a fair bit of that was that flurry of recording that we did. It felt like over about a 4-week period, we probably recorded about 10 episodes. I think we can probably conceivably get to somewhere in the realm of 60, I would have thought.
Yeah, definitely. I'm reading the book Scrum at the moment, just as to go back to one of the classics. And it is talking about how do we just, build that momentum and just get that throughput out faster. So as we are getting used to all the technical stuff, because we have had a few glitches over the past 12 months, because all of this podcasting stuff isn't our forte. So we've definitely had to get up to speed with a few things, and we still make the odd mistake with a couple of our episodes. But yeah, I think once we get that into a bit of a smooth transition, I think, yeah, definitely getting up there in terms of episodes will be pretty good. Okay, so David, let's really summarize. What are we doing? We've got our big themes coming up for 2026. We've reflected what we've achieved so far with the podcast, and it's gone well beyond what we either of us expected. I'm pretty confident at saying that. We've got our BHAG. We want to start creating a real strong community with SMBs, and we're around that 100,000 SMBs and lifting up their performance. We are supporting and tapping into the support around chambers and using them to grow and strengthen that community as well. We're going to have a pile of new guests, some that we've mentioned, some that are still in the pipeline that we will add to it. But there's also something happening on March the 4th. Can we just do a bit of a teaser for you around what that is and what's going to happen?
So we've talked about the Setseed partnership that we have, that Setseed is sponsoring the Better SMB podcast. And they're great guys. But off the back of what we did with Northwest Country Business Association, we're actually building an online capability that businesses can use. They can come to and find out how they've been performing, compare themselves to similar businesses in their industry and across New Zealand. And then from that, we're also going to be giving them a bit of guidance around what a high performance journey is going to look like. So I'm currently head down with Chris at Setseed and Ben, his other co-founder, and we're pulling this together. It's going to be based around a community. And on March the 4th, I'm headed down to Hutt Valley Chamber of Commerce to a tech and innovation event that they've got. And we're going to be launching this capability, which is pretty exciting. Outside of the nerve-wracking part of pulling this all together, I'm super pumped, because what it's going to do is it's going to give businesses the capability that we demonstrated with the Northwest Country Business Association's Business Awards. So those applicants that came through and provided us with a bunch of information about their business, that's the capability that we're going to be embedding into our website. So this episode may not come out for a week or so, but if you're looking at our website, you'll notice that things are going to start changing. We're going to be talking to you about effectively joining the waiting list so that you can get immediate access when we turn this capability on. And yeah, like I say, we're going to be launching this as a part of the Hutt Valley's 35 by 35 program. Rather than Patrick talking about this idea about 35 by 35, we're actually going to be able to show what the businesses in that region are doing to build towards that goal of a 35% lift in GDP in that region by 2035. So if you're in another chamber or business association and this is interesting, or could be interesting for you, please reach out to Rob, Danielle, or myself. Happy to talk to you about what we're doing and how you could potentially be supporting businesses within your chamber or business association as well. Enough of a tease, you reckon?
I think there's plenty. It's absolutely plenty. But absolutely, if you want to be an early adopter, reach out to us. If you want to get a little bit of an insight, definitely send us a message on LinkedIn, email, however you think you can reach out to us. And also, if you've got a really good active chamber and you going, heck, we want to get our region involved, tell them to get in touch with us, because we are in conversations with 1 to at least 3 others as early adopters to start testing this whole functionality. And I'm excited for it because it is going to be the one practical tool that businesses can do to help steer them in the right direction. It is not based on policy out of Wellington. It is based on research and practicality. So fizzing, absolute fizzing about this one.
So one of the things I'd like to ask people who listen to this podcast is, if you're part of the group that know that we've got this productivity problem here in New Zealand, that it is approaching crisis levels, and that you agree with us, what we need you to do is we need you to help us share this message. It would be great if every person that we engage with, sometimes it's daily or weekly or monthly, if you could share this with up to maybe 3 or 5 of your friends that run businesses. Because one of the things I've noticed, and you find this in every industry, whether it's technology, you probably find it in your space, Rob, with the lean thing, everybody who does it, they think it's a great idea. But the people who need it, they know nothing about it because they're too busy with their old habits doing whatever it is that they do. If you can help us share the message of what we're up to, this idea that if we can get 100,000 businesses on this journey, what that would do to New Zealand's economy would be amazing. And it's not a win-lose thing. just because you help somebody improve their business, they don't take something that you would have got. It's the rising tide lifts all boats. And I really think if we can approach this problem with this idea of how do we share, how do we reuse ideas rather than trying to reinvent constantly, we can become a better nation, we can have better businesses, and ultimately we can lift the wealth of our country.
Mic drop. Absolutely. Also, always encourage, call out for guest suggestions. If you've got people that you know that you think should be on this podcast, well-known New Zealanders, international guests, we're happy to talk to people. And yeah, just keep those suggestions coming through. Even topics that you want us to explore. I'm just thinking on the fly, we might have to re-go through the productivity reports and give that one another nudge, particularly in the year of the general election that's coming up. And yeah, I just really want to be able to show the difference that we are making in our own small little way about the SMB performances and enabling it to happen around the country. So that's my message.
Brilliant. Well, it's a short episode today. We've covered a lot of ground. I mean, there's been so much that's happened over the last 12 months. It's just been nuts. And from here, if we can get more guests, if we can get better subjects that people want to hear about, if you want to be a guest on here, reach out. But yeah, it really is. It's the year that we want to move from talking about trying to make things get better and so forth to actually enabling and doing it. For me, that's it. Till next time. Catch you all later.